All right, so today we're diving into a story that honestly shouldn't even exist. We're piecing together a legend that was never meant to be told in one go. This is the saga of the Scarlet King Trilogy, a complete narrative that was literally reconstructed from the digital ghosts of forgotten video games. Let's dig in and uncover the truth behind the legend.
So what makes this story so wild is where it comes from. You got to think of it like a digital artifact that's been unearthed. The very first game in the series, it's gone, completely lost to time. We don't even know its name. So what we're looking at here is a reconstruction, a definitive saga built from the sequels that shared its world. And believe me, it is a tragic legend, all about heroes, demons, and the powerful, haunting echoes they leave behind.
To really get this trilogy, we have to rewind, way back. We're going to its bloody, brutal beginning, to an ancient era where non-human races ruled, and one man carved his legend right out of their flesh.
Meet Hyberil. In a time when pure-blood humans were seriously on the back foot, he was a swordsman without equal, and, let's just be honest, a totally ruthless killer. He got his title, the Scarlet King, in the most metal way possible, by literally standing on a mountain of his enemies' bodies just soaked in their blood. He's the guy who took down monsters like the Great Spider and the leader of the opposing army, Golden Hippopotamus. And in doing so, he kicked off what humans called their Golden Age. He is the foundation this entire legend is built on.
Okay, so let's fast forward a few generations. The title of Scarlet King is now something that has to be won in a tournament. And this is where we get to the absolute emotional heart of the entire saga. The story of a hopeful young woman whose life just takes an unbelievably tragic turn. So here we meet our two key players, and their paths start together but could not end further apart. First, you've got Mamina. She's an orphan from the cat-eared tribe, shunned by her village, but she has a heart of gold. All she wants is to find her childhood friend Brave and thank him for saving her. Then you have Brave. After that same incident, he gets labeled a young hero, and the constant pressure, especially from his famous father, just starts to twist him. His ambition totally poisons his good intentions, and it sets these two friends on a devastating collision course.
Mimina joins the Scarlet King's tournament just to find Brave, to tell him he doesn't have to be this perfect hero. But the whole thing is a meat grinder. She fights through this deadly labyrinth, and she even defeats Brave once, but he manages to get away. She takes down other absolute powerhouses like the knight Siegfried and the lightning-fast elf Elfrin, getting stronger with every fight. And here's the horrible irony. She finally makes it to the final match, only to see that her opponent is the very person she came to save, who's now just completely lost to his hunger for power.
That kid who once saved his friend? He's gone. All that's left is this scream. Power! All I need is overwhelming power. That's all that matters. His goal isn't noble anymore. It's been boiled down to this raw, ugly desire to be the strongest, and he doesn't care what it costs. The fight is brutal. Brave is using forbidden magic, making himself almost unkillable, and he is just out of control. To stop him, to end the rampage, Mimina has no other choice. She has to kill the friend she came all this way to save.
And in the silence after the battle, when it's all over, she just whispers this absolutely heartbreaking question. What was my strength for? She wanted to be strong enough to protect people, to stand with Brave. But that very same strength is what she used to destroy him. Her entire reason for being just shatters.
Just numb with grief, with absolutely nothing left to lose, Mimina goes on to face the reigning Scarlet King, Hyberil himself, and she beats him too. But the kingdom doesn't see a tragic hero who saved them. They see a monster. A demon from the cat-eared tribe who murdered a hero and then killed their king. The kingdom falls into chaos, and she gets a new name, the Sword Demon, hated and feared by everyone.
After all that, Mimina, the sword demon, just disappears. Generations go by. And over all that time, the real story, the painful truth of a girl's grief and loss, it gets completely erased. All that's left, by the time we get to the present day, is a twisted legend about a villain and the bitter, bitter grudge of her descendants.
Okay, now we're going to jump way into the future, where the final act of this whole tragedy kicks off. We've got a new hero, Arcana, who's starting her own quest, but she has no idea that she's living in the shadow of Mimina's misunderstood life.
So, our new hero is Arcana. She's a brilliant young swordswoman trying to become a legendary sword saint. Her story starts when this rival group, calling themselves the Four Heavenly Sword Lords, raids her clan and steals everything, including the Holy Sword's soul. So she and her attendant, Ichigo, set off to hunt them down. It's basically a boss rush. She takes them out one by one, guys like Anubis and Danios, mastering their signature techniques as she goes.
And at last, she confronts their leader. The showdown happens at the Promised Land. Yep, the exact same spot where Mimina defeated Hybril all those centuries ago. This is it. Two of the greatest sword masters alive. Her clan's honor is on the line, and the whole thing comes down to one single, devastating blow.
But the question is, who actually delivered that blow?
It wasn't Arcana. Right at the critical moment, it's her attendant, Ichigo, who unleashes this massive blast of magic that ends the fight. The duel wasn't won by sword skill alone. It was won by teamwork, a detail the villain completely and fatally overlooked.
And that victory is what finally connects these two stories. It exposes the central theme of the entire trilogy, the huge, massive gap between what really happened and what gets remembered as legend.
See, the final villain, Miasis, was a direct descendant of Mimina, the sword demon. Her whole life's mission was to avenge her ancestors' stolen honor. But here's the truth. There was no stolen honor. Mimina wasn't fighting for glory. She was just a broken girl grieving her friend and her entire purpose in life. The grudge that Miasis carried, the thing that drove this whole final chapter, was based on a complete and total misunderstanding of what really happened.
Even the game's other endings all hammer this point home. In the canon ending, Miamigas loses because her solo quest for revenge made her blind to Arcana's greatest strength, her partner. In another ending, she actually wins, but learns that vengeance is empty. The sword demon name is never cleared, it changes nothing. But maybe the most gut-wrenching ending is the what if. If Brave had never stumbled upon that cursed book, he and Mimina would have made up. The entire tragedy, spanning centuries, would have never happened.
So in the end, this whole saga, the story pieced together from lost data, is really about how stories themselves get lost. It makes you ask a pretty heavy question. When a story gets passed down and retold over and over again, what's actually left at the end? The messy, complicated human truth? Or the simpler, more dramatic, and often totally wrong legend?